Hi, everybody, and welcome to Printmaking Inspired by Mary Blair. So, what I've had students doing, we've been using everyday materials like cardboard, like black tempera paint. And this is a kind of a two-parter kind of a lesson. And so, the way that we started, always, we put our name and our class code on our work in the corner here. But here's the fun part. We've been using the cardboard as a printmaking tool. Now, printmaking is just the process of making a print or a copy of something. So I'd love to show you this because it's honestly one of my favorite things. You can do this at home, but pressing it into the surface of the tempera paint. Now, the work of Mary Blair, I think, is very underrated. Mary Blair was one of the first female animators at Disney Studios. Walt Disney noticed her really unique use of color. And so what I'm doing right now, I'm just using this piece of cardboard to start to build different pieces of architecture now. And I'm even using it to draw, if you notice. So Mary Blair was really unique in a couple different ways. Number one of the first female animators in a world dominated by animation tends to be dominated by males, at least at that time in the 1940s and 50s, even 60s. But Mary Blair, what she wanted to do is to bring just a really whimsical, lighthearted, incredible use of color. Her knowledge of color theory is pretty spectacular. And you can see it in movies such as Peter Pan, Dumbo, Pinocchio, Cinderella, some of those really early, huge hits for Disney. Okay, so what I had students do, step one, they started to draw with this piece of cardboard. And you see how lovely and juicy that is. Just dipping it in the tempera. After they were done creating a larger kind of almost like a cityscape of sorts, and we could do it in the landscape view, or we could do it in the portrait view up and down. Here's the next step. So we let those dry off to the side. And then I asked students, you can tell, here's the one that I worked on one of the last times that we were together. I'm going to put it in so they could do it either way, landscape or in the portrait view. But oil pastels. Now, oil pastels are the next step. Kids love oil pastels because they can always get their hands really, really dirty, which I love too. And it's the blend factor. So being able to blend them is really a great, they always love it. I also try to teach them some of the basics. Oil pastels, again, you can start to blend colors together. Pushing really hard is a good thing. So then when you want to start to blend them, let me find just another color here. Okay, those colors start to mix together really, really well. And you can even start to lay them on their side as well. That would work. So when you're starting to use these oil pastels, I encourage kids to push really, really hard. Consider a color theme that they might like to use. Here's mine that I was working on earlier. I decided to just use oranges and greens and blues all the way down the surface. But you can see I built from the bottom and then I started to work my way up. And I just started to get a few little, flags and things like that in there. But really the goal is this, though. You want to try to color it in really, really hard first. You're going to blend at the end. So add your color nice and thick in there. And then at the very, very end, you can go over and you can start to blend your colors. So there we go. Cityscapes inspired by Mary Blair, the first female animator of Disney. Thanks, and get your fingers dirty.